Electrify America is completely restructuring how it bills its customers. Now, if you're a current Electrify America customer, or perhaps you're somebody that's thinking about getting an electric vehicle soon and plan on using the network, you're going to want to know what these changes are. And heck, even if you're a current Tesla owner, you're going to want to know what the changes are, because soon Electrify America is going to start installing the Tesla connector, the North American Charging Standard, or NACS connector, on its stations. And now you'll be able to use Electrify America stations without having to buy an expensive adapter. In this video, we're going to take a look at how Electrify America currently bills its customers and how that's going to all change on August 17th, 2023. Okay, so first let's look at the different memberships that you can have with Electrify America and how that affects how you pay under the current rules. Now, you could use the network without any affiliation as a guest. You just roll up in your EV, pull out your credit card, swipe the credit card reader, and if the credit card reader is working, and I'm specifically saying that because I found in my experience they've been less than extremely reliable. Let's put it that way. If it works, you can charge your EV without any affiliation. You can also download the Electrify America app. And when you do that, you can join as either a Pass member or Pass Plus member. If you're just a basic Pass member, there's no monthly fee, and you pay the same as a guest would. You're basically just gaining access to the app so you could use its features and also use the swipe to charge method to initiate a charging session, which is a lot more reliable than swiping your credit card. It works almost all the time. So even if you don't want to use the network a lot, so you don't want to be a Pass Plus member, I recommend downloading the Electrify America app and using it as a Pass member. Now, you can also join as a Pass Plus member, and it's advisable to do that if you think you're going to use the network a lot. Now, there's a $4 a month fee currently to be a Pass Plus member, so it's $48 a year. But when you do that, you get a 25% discount on your charging sessions. And if you use the network pretty much just once a month, you're going to save at least $4 on your charging session, so you're ahead of the game. So if you think you're going to use the network at least once a month, I've always recommend people join as a Pass Plus member because there actually will be savings. If you use the network more than once a month, 2 or 3 times a month, you're definitely going to be way ahead of the game if you join as a Pass Plus member. But pricing on the Electrify America network varies depending on what state you're in. Now, currently, the network's in 47 of the 50 states. The only 3 states Electrify America doesn't have any presence in is Alaska and North Dakota, which aren't really surprising because electric vehicle adoption is probably very low in those states. And Vermont, which to me is a little surprising because I go to Vermont frequently and I've seen a lot of EVs up there. And when I go to Vermont and need to charge on a public DC fast charger, there's actually a Flow DC fast charger that I use on the Flow network. But it's a little surprising EA doesn't have any sites in Vermont yet. I suspect that's probably going to be the next site that they add. Okay, so that's 3 out of the 50 states. So they're in 47 of the 50 states. However, in 30 of those states, Electrify America charges by the amount of energy it sells you, which is per kilowatt hour. Now, you would think that that's how it would be charged everywhere, because when you buy gasoline, you pay by the amount of energy, the amount of gallons you pay. But with electric vehicle charging, it's not that simple. And that's because some states don't allow anybody but a utility to charge for electricity. So in those states, Electrify America and the other networks aren't allowed to bill you by how many kilowatt hours they put into your car. So what they fall back on is by time. So what they basically say is they're charging you to be connected to their charger for a specific amount of time. And how much energy you get, well, that's on you and dependent on how fast your car can charge, which is very weird, but it's required in some states. I know Electrify America and the other networks are lobbying the states to try to change that, because I think most networks would prefer to just charge everybody by the amount of energy they give them. That's the fairest way to do it. So currently there's 17 states where Electrify America bills you by the amount of time you use their station. When you're charging your EV in one of the states that Electrify America does bill its customers by the kilowatt hour, if you're a guest or a pass member, you pay 48 cents per kilowatt hour. If you're a Pass Plus member, you pay 36 cents per kilowatt hour. That's a 25% discount, but remember you have to pay that $4 a month fee. Now, it's not as simple in the states where Electrify America bills you by the time, because there's one other level of complexity they've added, and that is it depends on how much power your electric vehicle can take in. Well, actually, how much peak power the EV can take in. And unfortunately, it has nothing to do with how much power your EV accepts during that charging session. They go by the manufacturer's rating of the peak charging rate, and you're billed depending on how much power your EV can take in on its peak rate. If you're a guest or on the Electrify America Pass plan and your electric vehicle can accept up to 90 kilowatts as its max charging rate when you're DC fast charging, you're going to pay 19 cents a minute. Now, if your EV can accept more than 90 kilowatts, up to 350 kilowatts, well, that's how they have it displayed on the site at least. But basically, it's the 90 kilowatt is the set point. If it's less than 90 kilowatts, you pay 19 cents a minute. If you can accept more than 90 kilowatts, you're going to pay 37 cents per minute. Now, again, this isn't the amount of power you take in during that charging session. It's locked into the maximum charging rate that the manufacturer specifies. And if you're a Pass Plus member and your electric vehicle can accept up to 90 kilowatts, you're going to pay 15 cents a minute. If your EV can accept more than 90 kilowatts, it jumps up to 29 cents per minute. Now, in these states where you're billed by the minute, you can really game the system and get a really good deal if your EV can accept a lot of power. And you do that by plugging in at a very low state of charge and then unplugging when you're around 50 or 60% charge. And that's because your EV typically will accept a lot of power at lower states of charge. The higher the state of charge, the less power the vehicle takes in. And if you're not on a road trip where you really need to charge to a high state of charge and you can afford to unplug at 50 or 60%, you can end up saving yourself a lot of money. And that's because as I mentioned, the EV slows its charging rate down a lot once the state of charge is high. And if you're paying by the minute, that makes a big difference. If you were to drive your EV down to zero and plug in and charge from 0 to 50%, let's say, and then unplugged and document how much you pay, and then plug it right back in at 50% and charge it up to 100% until it shuts off. On many EVs, you'll pay 4 times more to charge from 50% to 100% than you did from 0 to 50% because it takes so much longer to charge at that higher state of charge, particularly once you get up over 80 or 90% charge. So if you do use Electrify America frequently, maybe you live in an apartment and you can't charge at home, so you charge there frequently, you could save yourself a lot of money over the course of the year if you always plug in at a low state of charge and then unplug once you're around 50 or 60%, provided you don't need that extra range. Now, this is very vehicle specific. There are some EVs that charge at lower rates that don't really have a charging curve where they accept a lot of power in the beginning and then tail off. So you have to know what your electric vehicle's charging curve is. But for most EVs, if you follow that advice, you'll save yourself a lot of money over time. This video is powered by Qmerit, North America's leading provider of installation services for electric vehicle charging, home energy storage, and other electrification technologies. See how Qmerit is making the energy transition easy for home and business owners by following the link in the description of this video. So now that I explained how Electrify America currently bills its customers, let's take a look at the email that they sent me a couple days ago to explain what these new policies will be. Okay, it says, thank you for being part of the Electrify America family and supporting the e-mobility movement. It's electric vehicle owners like you that make our electric journey possible. Electrify America is reaching out to make you aware of pricing changes to your account that will soon be taking place. Beginning in August 17th, 2023, we'll shift from uniform, energy, or time-based pricing nationwide to a station-specific pricing model and resume charging for idle fees at most nationwide charging stations. The Electrify America mobile app will have pricing information for a given charger, but you should check the pricing of a charging station at the charger when you start charging. Now, Pass Plus customers will continue to save 25% on charging, excluding the idle fees, across our stations nationwide. The monthly fee for Pass Plus will increase to $7 per month. Remember, I said that they charged $4 per month. Now, the Electrify America terms of use are changing to reflect these changes. To view the Electrify America terms of use, click here. A number of important changes are as follows. We are clarifying that the pricing for a charge will be the price stated on the charger when you start a session. These prices may include idle fees or other kinds of charges, but you will always be informed at the charger before you charge. The app is informative about pricing, but because prices may change over time, you should always check the price at the charger. As a Pass Plus subscriber, you will no longer receive a fixed price, but instead will get a 25% discount on the per kilowatt hour or per minute price for a given charger that you use. This change will be reflected in the subscription details you view in the app. The new $7 monthly fee will be reflected in the subscription details you view in the app. We are updating the arbitration provisions to clarify the applicable arbitration rules, including a bar on class arbitration. We are updating and expanding the liability limitations. Now, I'm not going to focus on those last two bullet points. That's probably another discussion. We're here today to talk mostly about the price changes. Now, these changes, including the $7 per month Pass Plus subscription charge, will take effect on August 17, 2023. Please review the changes and decide whether you want to continue your subscription. If you do, just keep using the app and our chargers as usual. You will see the new prices when you charge on August 17, 2023. Your plan will continue to automatically renew each month as per the subscription terms, unless and until you cancel. You may cancel your subscription at any time within the Electrify America app. As always, we are happy to assist if you have any questions. Thank you again for taking this journey with us. All right, so there's three main changes that are going to take place on August 17th. First up, the monthly fee for Pass Plus members is going up from $4 a month to $7 a month. That's a 75% increase. So Pass Plus members, instead of paying $48 per year, are going to be paying $84 per year now just to have the membership. So that might affect the break-even point. I had always said if you just use the station once a month, you're going to cover that $4 a month fee. Now at $7 a fee, you might have to use the station twice a month in order to be above water, depending on how big your EV's battery is. If you have a really big battery like I have on my Lightning or the Rivian, then one charging session probably would make that different. But if you drive a smaller EV like my Bolt EV, for instance, then you might need to charge twice a month in order to be above water with that $7 fee. Now, only you'll know that, but you should keep an eye on your charging and your records and see how much energy you use each month. It might make sense if you were a previous Pass Plus member to now drop that down and just be a Pass member. Don't pay the monthly fee and just pay the extra 25%. That stays. You still get a 25% discount if you're a Pass Plus member, but your fee is going up to $7 a month, and that's going to add up. Number two, and probably the biggest change, is that consistent pricing nationwide is going away. And I really don't like this change at all. However, I understand it. And that's because the cost of electricity varies greatly around the country. I'm sure there's some sites that Electrify America is paying 4 times more for the electric than they are on some of their other sites that might only be 1 or 2 states away. So you have to understand from a business standpoint, it's difficult to charge the same amount if your cost can be 4 times greater at other locations. Now, Tesla with their supercharger network, which is probably the model for everybody else to follow, doesn't have consistent pricing. They do what Electrify America is changing to now. They have dynamic, site-specific pricing, where you'll charge at a supercharger here and pay 40 cents a kilowatt hour. Another one might be 36 cents a kilowatt hour. Another one might be 50 cents a kilowatt hour. And Tesla takes it one step further. They also bill you based on what time you plug in. So their pricing is even more dynamic than what Electrify America is transitioning to now. Now, as I said, I don't like this. I really liked having that set, consistent pricing around the country. I knew wherever I went, and I travel in different states and charge in different states, that I was always going to pay the same amount. But realistically, I understand why they're doing this. It's probably the right thing for the company to do. It's probably the most fair thing to do. If you're in a state where the average electricity price is 10 cents a kilowatt hour, you should be paying less than the state, a couple states away, where the average electricity is 40 cents a kilowatt hour. So I understand the reason why they're doing that. Now, the problem with that is I can't explain to you how much more or potentially less. It's possible in some states, Electrify America will even lower the price if that's an area where electricity is really cheap. Now, some people might say, oh, they're not lowering the prices anywhere, but let's wait and see how this shakes out. It's possible some of their locations can actually go down in price, while others for sure are going to go up. I mean, here in New Jersey, where I live, I pay more to charge at Tesla superchargers than I currently do on Electrify America chargers. And it's a good amount different. So I'm expecting Electrify America to raise prices in this area, because I'm figuring if Tesla's at that higher price, it's probably because that's what they're paying. So I would think Electrify America is probably going to take a look at what Tesla's charging around the country and try not to be too far off of that, because they know now that most of the manufacturers, and all of them eventually, will be switching over to the North American charging standard, the NACS connector, that the supercharger network, where it wasn't a competitor before, is going to be a competitor for them now, because customers will be able to decide, do I want to go to the Tesla supercharger? Do I want to go to Electrify America or another network? So I think part of why Electrify America is doing this now is so that they can have that dynamic pricing and be more competitive in different parts of the country. And the last change that Electrify America is making with these new rules is one that I love. They're finally going to start charging idle fees. Now, idle fees are what you would incur if you stay connected to their charging station after your car's finished charging and shut off. Now, I spend a lot of time at DC fast charging stations doing my recordings and so forth. I can't tell you how many times I've witnessed electric vehicles that are plugged in long after they finished charging. The owner just walked away, maybe went into the store or whatever. And because Electrify America doesn't charge you or punish you for tying up a charger after your car is finished, people have been very laxed about it. And so I'll get back to my car whenever I get back to it. There's been times where I've pulled up to charging station sites, Electrify America sites, that were completely full. And there's been a car sitting there, and you can even see how long it's been idling for, because there's a time, and it's been there 20, 30 minutes beyond its charging session, just sitting there because, well, they're not getting punished. That's going to change. Electrify America now is going to give you a 10-minute grace period. Quite honestly, I'd make it 5 minutes, but that's me. They're going to give you a 10-minute grace period. And after that, if you don't come and unplug your EV once it's done charging, you're going to be billed 40 cents a minute, which I totally support. Maybe this will get people to understand that it's their responsibility to unplug, move their electric vehicle so others can charge. These aren't preferred private parking spots. These are parking spots that are dedicated for EV charging, not EV idling. Now, Tesla understands this, and they charge idle fees, and they're actually even tougher than Electrify America is going to be. They charge 50 cents a minute. And if the site is completely full, if all the stations are in use and you're idling, they double it to $1 a minute. I fully support Electrify America doing that also. If the site is 100% utilization, people are waiting to charge, and you're sitting there blocking the station, bang them for $1 a minute. I'm totally fine for that. And, you know, some people might say, well, I don't know when the vehicle's done charging. Look, if you download the Electrify America app, you can monitor your state of charge. You can even set the app to send you a notification once the vehicle is completed charging. So there's no excuse. When your vehicle is done charging, get in it, move it, let other people plug in. This third rule is great. I fully support it. Thanks for finally instituting idle fees, Electrify America. It's one of the things that I have been begging them to do for a long time now. So now you know the new rules that Electrify America will be putting in place on August 17th, 2023. Does this mean you're going to be paying more for charging? Well, if you're a Pass Plus member, you are going to be paying more per month. And chances are, I bet you're going to be paying more per kilowatt hour and more per time also. That's just my feeling on this, but who knows? Maybe they'll surprise us and some areas of the country will actually have a reduction in the fees while others are going to go up. I know some areas are going to go up because I know some of the areas of the country that have very expensive electricity, they're losing money every time people plug in because they're selling it at less than what they're paying for it. So they have to be losing money. So I know that's going to happen in some of the areas for sure. Hopefully in the other areas that have very inexpensive electricity, the customers will get a little bit of a break. Now, you know my position on charging in public if you are a follower of this channel. I believe if you have the ability to charge at home, you should always charge at home. It's a better charging experience. It's going to cost you less because charging at home is going to cost less than using the network unless you have one of those god-awful unlimited free charging programs, which I hope that Electrify America and the manufacturers end soon because they're creating backlogs at the charging station for people that don't need to use the public charging or using it because, hey, it's free. And I don't blame you for using it. If it came with the car, go ahead and use it. I just think the manufacturers need to develop a new model, a new incentive to get people to buy their EVs and cap that charging at a certain amount of kilowatt hours or once a month or something like that. I think they have to go down that road rather than these 30-minute unlimited free charging sessions, because what happens is it pulls people out of their house where they could charge and puts them on public charging stations, and you get backlogs because of that. But I made a whole video on this. I'll put a link to that video in the description of this video here today. I hope you learned what these changes are going to mean to you. I know we don't know the pricing because it's going to be station dependent. And also I want to remind you that Electrify America said don't rely on the app for the station dependent pricing, because since that seems like that fee is going to change, they don't think the app's going to keep up in real time with what the charging station charges. So make sure when you arrive at the charging station, you take a look and see what you're being billed per minute or by the kilowatt hour, because it may be different than what the app is showing. Listen, if this is your first time here, don't forget, smash that subscribe button so you don't miss any upcoming electric vehicle news and reviews. And as always, thanks for watching.